Hello YouTube and welcome to my new Sims 4 playthrough. I am still obsessed with the game Dragon Age, as I have been for a while now, and I have been doing a lot more writing and playing than I have been of actually recording videos and things. But I also, like I said, I've been doing a lot of writing, and I have a fan fiction out there that I've written for Dragon Age 2, where I have a relationship between the characters of Anders and Fenris, which is the ship is called Fenders, and in this story, I have the two characters get ripped out of the game and into our world. And basically having to come from the Dragon Age world and try and survive in the modern day universe. And in the story, they eventually fall in love, they get married, etc., etc. And so, and they change their names in the story to Fenris changes his name to Lido, and Anders changes his name to Andreas, and he goes by the last name of Bauermann, which is a German for farmer man, basically. Because, well, his families are farmers, so, you know, I thought that kind of made sense. And since they got married, they're Fenris and Lido Bauermann, and so this Sims 4 playthrough is of the two of them. I actually got a mod that allowed me to create Fenris and Anders in the game, or in this case Lido and Andreas. So basically, that's what you're seeing here. We have Andreas in the kitchen cooking, and uh, and cutting his finger in the process and everything, but he's gonna be cooking. And of course, you know, Lido in the background there, good old Fenris, he has a sweet tooth. We all know he loves apples, right? But we've got an ice cream machine there, and he's like, I'm gonna make some ice cream. I'm tired of waiting for dopey Andreas over here making this super healthy, stupid salad and everything. But I kind of decided I'm trying to force Lido to not. And so now Lito's going off and trying to make his own salad, which is kind of silly. Um, I do have my Sims have complete autonomy, so. But I love the mods that they have in here. So we have the Dragon Age 2 hairstyle um, for Anders, and of course, you know, for Fenris, because you can't do elf ears in the game right now. But there's a mod. I think I think they're actually jewelry that someone modded, so that it goes over the ears that way. But it looks a lot like them. Oh yes, and they couldn't sit down at the table because this bowl of fruit was in the way, and I'm like, how do I get rid of this stupid fruit? Okay, fine, I'll sell it. Okay, let's go back and get everyone to sit down at the table. But if you have any interest at all in the fan fiction that this is going to be based off of, there'll be a link in the description below the video and everything. But this would be time after they've officially gotten married, and Andreas has just so they've gotten married. Andreas has just finished med school, and he's going to become a medical intern. In fact, you saw. Earlier, so I haven't gotten Andreas to sign up for a job yet, but he's going to sign up for the medical career to become a doctor. And excuse for the background sounds. I actually had no idea my mic was on while I was recording this earlier. I was just playing, so if you hear any silly things like the pop can opening, sorry. Anyhow, so yeah, so Andreas is going to become a doctor because that's what he is in the story. Now, in the story, Lido opens up a chain of self-defense studios, and there is no self-defense instructor career path. So I ended up making him go for the oh, I forget what it is now, because you can do the detective track, where you actually get to go with him and go to work, and it's not a rabbit hole kind of career. But instead, I think he's like the spy career instead, because I didn't want to have both of them be in the non-rabbit hole careers, just because it would be too much to manage. So Leto goes off to work. We don't see him. He's just rabbit holed. Whereas, Andreas here is busy looking for a job and losing his hair at the same time. The mod does have a few glitches. But anyway, so yes, so now he's signed up to start his medical internship career. He starts in 3 days, and Leto starts in the morning. So we have some time to just kind of hang out together. And he decides he's going to sleep on the couch. I'm like, come on, let's go to bed. If you're that tired, you might as well go to bed. And you see this nice little house that they've got here and everything. And in the story, they kind of have kind of some bad luck happening to them in the early days of them being in our world, and their story gets spread virally on the internet, and someone sets up a crowd funding thing for them, and they get like $500,000 worth of crowdfunding because of all the bad stuff that happened to them. So, oh, and look who is coming to visit. Sir Dorian Pavus. Yes, I actually created a Dorian and a Cullen in this game as well, and their neighbors, but I'm not going to be playing them. They're just kind of autonomous and they're doing their own thing. But it's just hilarious that it happens to be Dorian and Cullen that come by and visit, rather than any of the other neighbors that are like just regular Sims. So I thought that was kind of funny. And so we've got, and yes, I am very much, like I do the Fenders ship with Anders and Fenris, but I also do the Colorian ship with Colin and Dorian. And if you actually find that offensive by any means, then sorry. This is my headcanon, and this is what I like for Dragon Age. But I just thought it's kind of funny. It's like, hey, they're becoming good friends with the Inquisition ship couple. So, and Dorian just kind of helps himself to the swimming pool, just kind of sitting there chit chatting. So I was like, okay, well, let's have Andreas join them and everything. I know I made Dorian much more buff than I made Colin at the time. I probably should have had the muscles the other way around, but oh well. But here comes Leto, and you'll notice that with the mod, he actually has the tattoos on his body, just like in the game, as well as the ears, and of course, obviously the mod also includes the hairstyle, and I just have to, change the color and everything, and things. And for Andreas, there's a mod for the facial hair, the hairstyle, and then also some of the eye makeup around him to make him look a little bit more tired and things. And I had to make sure he looked kind of emaciated, because in the game he's kind of emaciated in the game, so because he never eats. And no, there's no justice. So if you know Dragon Age at all, Anders in the game is possessed by the spirit of justice, and in my story, he gets separated from the spirit of justice as he comes over to this world. So there is no spirit of justice here, and Leto's tattoos actually should be black and not white, because there's no lyrium in this world, but there's no way I could have changed the colors, so I just kind of left it as it is. But these two are newly married, newlyweds, and yeah, look at Colin and Dorian just kind of flirting with each other there. Well, I think I have them married as well, so So we've got two gay couples. I always love the pee walk that they have in The Sims 4 here. It's hilarious, with Andreas having to go to the bathroom like, oh, I gotta pee. I don't know why I find it so funny, but I do find it hilarious. Anywho, so that's kind of like some of the background of the fan fiction and everything. I will warn you, if you read the story at all, that there is BDSM elements in there. I have Leto being somewhat of a dom, and Andreas being somewhat of a sub. If you're familiar with dom, the whole dom sub concepts and everything. If you're not, look it up. Most people nowadays are somewhat familiar with it because of 50 Shades of Grey. Although, to be perfectly honest, I think 50 Shades of Grey is a poor representation of the BDSM culture and everything. And I actually did quite a bit of research, and I talked to people in the lifestyle and had them read over the scenes that I had to see how realistic they were. And I made some tweaks and changes based off of that. And oh yes, this whole thing with The Sims 4 when you're cooking and wanting to add earwax to your food. Could that be any more gross? Well, I guess he could be picking his nose instead, but still, like, ew. I can't control it either. I can't say, don't add earwax, please. But apparently, that was the leftover salad that Lito was gonna make himself last night. So Andreas decided, oh, I'm gonna go ahead and make it now while it's still fresh. Oh, and I like, okay, I'll let Lito make some ice cream. We don't have apple yet, but pistachio is pretty good. Pistachio is actually one of my favorites, so that's why I'm having him make pistachio. And look at Lito being all neat and clean and washing up after himself. For anyone who knows Dragon Age at all, especially Dragon Age 2, you'll know that the mansion that Lito kind of occupies in the game is a huge pile of mess because he never cleans. he just likes sitting around drinking wine and smashing bottles against the wall. So he's got like a whole pile of like broken glass in one corner. He's got some corpses in another corner. He's got mushrooms growing out of the carpets. It's just a mess. I did not give him a cleanliness. I didn't make him sloppy either because I had several other traits I wanted to impart onto him. And interestingly enough, he's currently feeling flirty. Maybe we'll have to do some more flirting at some point in the future. Maybe a bit of woohoo for our newlyweds. Because that's always a fun activity in the game. They have a hot tub to choose from or a bed, but I think maybe if they woohoo the first time in this house, it should be in the bed. This is a pretty simple little one bedroom. I just kind of it was an existing model that came with the game. I just kind of did some upgrades to it. I upgraded the kitchen and the bathroom and made them very much more modern. Although they're getting confused between the counters in the bathroom and the counters in the kitchen and which one to use for for cooking. It's like, okay, fine. But so anyway, so we're I did those upgrades and everything. Upgraded a lot of the fixtures and things. Added the pool in the backyard. This particular house didn't come with a pool and stuff, so I kind of fancied things up because they're both doing pretty well financially, so why not? You can see the amount of money that they have actually reflects what they got from the crowdsourcing and stuff. Even though, to be perfectly honest, they probably shouldn't have that much anymore because Andreas just went through med school and everything. Well, he had to go through the whole 9 yards because he'd never been to school in our system. He was granted a GED. I think he took the GED test, and then he got into college and he got his bachelor's in pre-med or whatnot before entering a full-blown med school program and everything. But it makes sense for him, since he's a healer in Dragon Age, to want to pursue a background in medicine. Oh yes, the famous brain freeze. I do wish there was a mod for the voices, so you could have like maybe a simified versions of the voices from the game. But that's a little too much to ask, and there's a very limited range of how you can do the voices. So I just kind of made Lito's voice deeper, and I believe I made Andreas's voice more lyrical, since he's a little bit. I made Andreas a little bit gayer in the in this game. If you'll notice, he has quite the feminine sachet when he walks and stuff. I mean, technically they're both bisexual. That's canon in the game that they're attracted to both men and women. But and I know there's a lot of people out there that actually find the concept of Anders and Fenris as a couple by default abusive, which I don't understand. I think it's only if you're shipping them and you're doing a fan fiction, it's only going to be abusive if you make it abusive. So even though I wrote this with a BDSM theme in the story, it's not abusive at all. I mean, BDSM by itself is not abusive if done correctly, you know, safe, sane, consensual, etc. And they definitely have a very safe, sane, consensual BDSM thing going on with them in the story. And so that's not abusive. But even if you take that out, their relationship doesn't necessarily have to be abusive unless you write it that way. I never quite understood that. I figured, you know, as long as if the two of them just sat down and talked to each other, they would actually like each other. That's my opinion, and I'm sticking to it one way or the other. But anywho, I just, you know, I think they're good. I think they can be very good for each other. And just look how sweet they are if they kiss. I don't know. I know I'm probably silly, but this is just kind of my headcanon, and it's a thing. I enjoy them as a couple. I enjoyed writing the story of the two of them together, and I don't know. I just kind of like their characters, even though, I mean, one is pro-Templar, one is pro-Mage, but they both have so much in common in their backgrounds and in the abuses that they suffered before you beat them in Dragon Age and everything else. And like I said, if they just sat down and talked, you know, they would at the least have some mutual respect for each other, if nothing else. That's my opinion, and that's the opinion of a lot of those of us who are Fender's shippers. So, anywho, here we go. Here's the famous woohooing. And who's woohooing who? Oh, that's entirely up to them, isn't it? Oh, and or our imagination. Yes, complete with fireworks. Alright, well, I think that's enough for this episode. If you want me to do more of these, let me know, comment, thumbs up, etc. I appreciate all of that. And, you know, until the next video I put up, take care, and till next time, bye-bye.